my time, and I feel in my prime, and I enjoy this kind of moments. I feel I'm in my prime. I feel more confident, more strong, and everything.
I honestly believe today nobody can beat Canelo Alvarez.
So recently, Canelo Alvarez have been making outrageous headlines, such as he won't fight Bivol again if he loses to Ramirez, nor he would fight Ramirez or any Mexican fighter. In addition to that, Canelo wouldn't fight the best Black American fighters either, because like he told Demetrius Andrade, they are horrible fighters, aka horrible fighters stylistically for Canelo Alvarez. To make matters worse, after losing while ducking and maneuvering, Canelo said he still believes he's pound for pound number one, aka he's still the best fighter in the world, despite the fact that Canelo is coming off a loss to Bivol, where he lost every single minute of every single round in that fight. Well, surprisingly, Canelo Alvarez's own trainer, Eddy Reynoso, came to put Canelo Alvarez's delusion in check, where he told Canelo, "You're not pound for pound number one because you lost. Duh, you simply can't lose and be the best fighter in the world. That's idiotic. I mean, only emotional fanboys will say such rubbish." Even Canelo's own trainer didn't co-sign this rubbish on steroids of Canelo being pound for pound number one today. Here is what Canelo Alvarez's own trainer, Eddy Reynoso, had to say. Check it out.
Eddy, últimamente en los libras por libras ya bajó Canelo al número 5. ¿Tú por qué crees que lo bajan tan para abajo?
Pues porque perdió la pelea, si haya ganado hubiera sido todavía el libra por libra. Creo que pues no importa si estás en el 1, digo en el 2 o en el 10, mientras no estés en el 1 quiere decir que estás dentro de los mejores. Creo que si haya ganado la pelea, se haya sostenido como número 1, ahora hay que seguir ganando peleas para volver a escalar.
Pero con todas las peleas que ha ganado antes, ¿es suficiente para todavía seguir número 1?
Pues yo creo que después de una derrota no puede ser el número 1. Él creo que es, y siempre lo he dicho, siempre ha estado entre los mejores boxeadores, y en el libra por libra pues te tienes que mantener ganador, eso es sin duda. Se perdió una pelea y pues lógicamente te van a descender de la clasificación.
Eddy, sí.
Now, I usually leave the source in the description box below. However, this guy in particular, he ended up removing the video from his channel. Nevertheless, do you guys know how biased you have to be as a reporter for Canelo Alvarez's own trainer, Eddy Reynoso, to disagree with you when you are praising, pumping up, or defending Canelo? I'm telling you guys, when it comes to old media, being biased is at an all-time high in boxing. It's so high, they literally can touch the sky. Like this reporter, for example. This is being biased on another level. Professionalism left the room when this reporter walked in the room. Even Eddy Reynoso had to try to bring some of that professionalism back in the room. Like, hold on, wait a minute. You guys can't just say stuff that don't even make any logical sense only because it makes you feel good. That's not gonna make it true. I completely agree with Eddy Reynoso when he said that Canelo is not the best fighter in the world, just like anybody would agree. A fighter can't be the best fighter in the world when someone just beat the soul out of him. So we know he's not the best because Bivol just beat the crap out of Canelo. To make matters worse, Canelo even turned down the rematch at 168, where he's undisputed right now. Even Canelo himself knows that he's not the best fighter in the world because Bivol has his number. If they fight 100 times, Bivol would win 100 times. That's why Canelo ducked the rematch. So to the reporter that was trying to get Canelo trainer Eddy Reynoso to stay on code, instead of arguing and debating with Canelo trainer to force him to follow the old media agenda, how about you say the complete sentence without leaving certain words out? Since Canelo Alvarez is coming off one of the worst losses of the year, where he lost every single minute of every single round to Bivol, you can classify Canelo as the best loser in the world, but certainly not the best winner because he's coming off a loss. See, to be the best fighter in the world, you have to win. In order to accomplish that achievement, you can't lose and call yourself the best winner, aka the best fighter in the world. There's never been a time in history where a fighter came off a loss as devastating as Canelo lost to Bivol. And at the same time, he was labeled and called the best fighter in the world. That's not how it works. This ain't rocket science. Are you smarter than the fifth grader? Because this is common sense. Therefore, when this reporter asked Eddy Reynoso, doesn't Canelo get credit for what he did in the past? Well, let's talk about it, even though we're talking about the present. Canelo coming off a loss to Bivol, a loss that Canelo is not even trying to avenge, where he ducked the rematch. Nevertheless, let's talk about Canelo's rich history of robberies, ducking, and taking steroids. Canelo Alvarez ducked the Fabulous Four of his time, the Charlo twins, Demetrius Andrade, and Benavidez. Canelo Alvarez has officially turned down all of these fights for his biggest paydays to this day. Is that the rich history we talking about here? Or is it Canelo barely beating Trout, robbing Lara in a fight he clearly lost? Also, a lot of people believe Canelo lost to Triple G twice. Or perhaps Canelo Alvarez's rich history of testing positive for steroids ahead of the Gennady Golovkin rematch when he got suspended. Or maybe it's Canelo ducking Benavidez, Charlo, and Andrade to cherry pick Bivol for way less money in a cherry pick gone wrong. Is that the rich history this reporter is referring to? Because that sounds like poor history to me. When you look at Canelo Alvarez's resume, Canelo has never been pound for pound number one. Terrence Crawford have always been the number one pound for pound king. The only reason old media put Canelo Alvarez as pound for pound number one is because he has the complexion for the connection to get the ultimate protection. So as soon as Lomachenko lost, they put Canelo Alvarez as the replacement for pound number one, since they desperately want a fighter from the hope list to be the face of the sport. However, sadly for old media, it was the shortest reign ever. Even after Canelo did all of that ducking for a whole decade, he still lost in a cherry pick gone wrong. That's why the one thing I disagree with Canelo Alvarez's trainer, Eddy Reynoso, is that Canelo is nowhere near the top 10 pound for pound. And that's a fact, since Bivol kicked him out of the list, which us new media will be publishing the top 10 pound for pound list real soon. So be on the lookout for the cookout. The real pound for pound list, the most legit, old school fashion. With the facts being laid out, drop your thoughts in the comment section below, subscribe below, and click on the notification bell to be continued on the next episode of Akhi, TV. Peace, and I'm on to the next one.